So next panel is up with Thomas Crampton, who is has grown up from a blogger into a journalist. No, from a journalist into a blogger. Then we have Stéphanie Hospital from Orange, who is Vice President Marketing and Business Development. And we have of Orange Audience and Online Advertising. Welcome. We have Georges-Edouard, who is the head of the internet of LOreal, a very small startup. And we have welcome Georges-Edouard. And Matthias Lüfkens, who is the one you should talk to. Matthias, please take this seat. If you want to get invited to Davos, you know this little conference in the Alps, you should talk to Matthias if you want an invite to that. And I'm sure you'll get some customers. I'm going to check if I can save Paolo there. He cannot move anymore. Anyway, so the floor is yours.
Paolo's very busy over here signing. Thank you very much for being here. We've got a great panel here to talk about brands. This is a very important subject because while a lot of people here have startups, a lot of business models are based around advertising, but this is not going to work in the real world unless we can get big companies, brands interested in this topic. So what I've decided to do is rather than begin with the theme of love here, we're going to begin with the theme a little bit of humiliation. Humiliation is a very exciting topic, and I've asked these brands to talk a little bit not about what they're doing great, but what they've messed up with. Where have they learned something? Where have they done something in the social media sphere? Georges-Edouard, you are the first in line here. LOreal, have you always had a perfect social media strategy?
Well, I'm the first with humiliation, as you said. Well, in fact, we started wrong very early, because I think everybody remembers about the Vichy case, which is quite a famous time where we decided, we thought...
How many people are aware of the Vichy case in France with L'Oreal? Okay, a few people, very briefly.
Well, just we thought that the blog was another place to advertise, so we decided to launch, for the launch of a new product for Vichy, we decided to launch a fake blog. And in fact, within minutes, I say, within days, with everybody saying, well, it doesn't look true, it's too perfect. We had a person called Claire that was blogging, but it doesn't look very real. So what we said, well, I think we should really listen to you because you know the way we should talk to you. And certainly we didn't get it right. What we did, we said, well, let's listen to you. Tell us the way we should use social place as a way to talk to you and to listen to you. And we turned that into a listening place. And certainly we transformed that blog in really a listening place with real bloggers.
So you started out with a fake blog and ended up with a real communication. Stéphanie.
Yeah, we had
Orange.
We had the same kind of experience recently. I mean, for the launch of a new services called My Social Place, which is a mobile services where you can aggregate your preferred online communities with a partnership we had with most of the community online. So we decided to do a viral marketing campaign, and for that, the name of the campaign was Sauve tes amis. And the idea was to...
Sauf les amis, meaning...
Save your friends.
Save your friends.
Save your friends. So the idea was to help people to reconnect after the summer. So we did that, and we created some Facebook profile in the name of that association, Save Your Friend, or Sauve tes amis. But then, after 1 week of those profiles, we received people interacting with us. And we just realized that it was not appropriate to have done that on Facebook. Facebook clearly was not the right platform for that, because we had no real people behind that association. So finally, we sent the email to all the people who have interacted with those profiles on Facebook. And we created an association, this time on MySpace, with the video, and that was a real success because we had more than on MySpace that for that kind of viral marketing campaign was much more adapted, and we had more than 140,000 people visiting the website, the mobile site, and 80,000 people registering to the service. So at the end of the day, it was a positive turn, but we learned that you have to be cautious when you use that kind of viral marketing campaign.
So this was a case of choosing the wrong platform, not working with a platform that would be for more a brand having an identity than Facebook, which is more a personal identity.
Clearly, that was really that, but it was very useful in terms of adoption of the service.
Matthias, the World Economic Forum, which is, after all about connecting people. You gather thousands of people in Davos each year, thousands of CEOs, very important people, to connect with each other. How do you connect them online?
Well, how do we connect them online? Different things. If you want to hear my story, is basically we had an issue with our Wikipedia entry. Who doesn't? So somebody in the forum finally realized, this page which had been written by, people who are anti-globalization, and so basically was all critical. So the forum decided will rewrite the Wikipedia article and say the forum responses to its critics. So for years there was the criticism and then the forum responses to its critics. And then finally the whole page was just not very clear. And then some Wikipedian said, this is Wikipedia at its worst, this article is a mess. So that was, of course, the great idea for me to go in and say, hey, let's discuss this. Here's a new version, neutral point of view. I'm a former journalist. I know how to write an objective article even about my own company. Left the criticism in there, and after a bit of discussion, we put it online 72 hours later. And that's a great way to go in, to discuss with the community here, in this case, the Wikipedians, and to hear their voices, even if they are critical voices.
So I would like to make this a broader conversation with you, the audience. So in a moment, I'd like people to raise their hands if they'd like to ask a question, but continue the discussion up here for a moment. What is the role of a brand in a social media? Because social media, after all, is all about people connecting each other. It's about friendships. Facebook, I'm linked into my 5,000 closest friends. And are you trying to find a price for friendship? Are you selling friendship?
Well, I think really social space is a space social space is a space that belongs to the owners. And basically the fundamental question for us is whether it's really a place where we should advertise. In fact, we don't want as a brand to be intrusive. We want to be really a service. We want to be invited, and I think it's a fundamental question with social space, is I think the fact that brands are content, that brands can be used in my personal social space, why not? But as long as I'm invited, I think that's a fundamental question today. We don't want to be intruders in this privacy, and it's not, I don't want to be the one, because I've read that on your Facebook profile, you're moving to that faraway country, I'm going to recommend you that cream, because I think it's intrusion. To the contrary, if I'm able to provide you with a service that you're going to share with your friends, at your initiative, there, I'm really playing my role of helping you connect with your friends.
I think it's all about sharing. I mean, this theme here is love. In a relationship, you share. So you share with your customers, the company. I mean, the World Economic Forum, what are we sharing? We're actually sharing our pictures on Flickr. We put it onto Creative Commons, and it's a great way to create a community, to make friends. So it is.
So you distribute the photographs you've taken at the World Economic Forum on Flickr.
All the photographs from all our meetings, either in Davos or the regional summits, are on Flickr under Creative Commons license. Commercial use, go ahead, use them, please. Be my guest. It's a great way to share, and it's a great way to. I mean, what happens on the other hand, we're losing control. But I think this is all about, you share, you lose control, but you create a community.
Stephanie.
As for Orange, it's a little bit different. As in our DNA, we are a digital media. We are a social media. I mean, we help people to connect on a day-to-day basis, to make interaction, to make call. So, I mean, we are naturally digital. We are digital on the mobile. We are digital on the website. I mean, with the community of people that on a monthly basis go on those websites. And we try more and more to help people to simplify their digital life. So, yeah, I mean, so it's natural for us to use digital media because we are a digital media.
And then I'd like to take a question from the floor. Yeah, 1 second first, Georges-Edouard. You finish your...
Yeah, I think there's also a question of reciprocity. The fact that you always ask as a brand your customers to be loyal to you. And sometimes you should ask you the question, are you really loyal to your customers, by providing the service that they're expecting? And it's all about listening, learning, and running your marketing by iteration, by really understanding what your customers want.
Okay, we want to listen to this member of the audience. Please identify yourself.
Hi, my name's Axel Schmigelo. It's not my first question. I'm from 7Load. I run a social media website, and what we try to do differently is to have to really offer advertisers a better way to reach audiences that are important to them in a very relevant context. So I really liked what you just said, coming from two large brands. However, if you look at the practice of media spending in your industry, the way it still works, at least this year, let's see how it works out next year, is companies like your company spend 100 million euros on advertising, of which maybe 10 go into online advertising and 90 go into TV advertising and print advertising, of which a large portion, I've seen that advertising without ever buying a women's cream or you know, except maybe for my wife. When will the moment come that you will shift dramatically your budgets to interact with your customers? And the issue we usually get with that is that classic advertising decision makers say, oh yeah, but you don't have the reach. But what the hell is 2 million reach if you only actually should get 200,000 people who really could be your customers?
It's not really about traditional and new forms of media. It's about of digitalizing the way we do media. It's moving to a philosophy that was essentially push, 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 to a philosophy which is pull, pull, pull. And in that case, I really feel that social media is a place where you can do things as long as you're expected. And by the way, when I go to Facebooks, I see a lot of groups that have been created by users, not by people from L'Oreal, that are about L'Oreal products. And this thing began a few years ago in Brazil with Orkut, where basically we saw a lot of our consumers joining forces and saying, well, we want also to talk about brands because brands are a daily part of our conversation. And there we feel that we're invited, and there we feel that we can play a role, by invitation only.
But if you want to do that, you need to create the confidence for brands that is useful and that there's a return on investment to invest on social media. So, and this is the duty of all of us to make this trust and to give also a good way of monitoring how this spend, this digital advertising spend, could be very well used on social media.
So make 7Load seem more valuable to people. How difficult is it to sell social media internally in your organizations? Because that's a very important difficulty. If you're 7Load going to try and sell this, what are the kinds of messages that need to say?
I think, well, it's not that difficult to sell, because I would say that any marketer, any advertiser within our group would love to rush into social media. The question which is difficult to really make them understand whether they deserve that space. Because there are brands that deserve to be in social medias. There are brands that don't deserve to be there just because it's not their philosophy. So
there's social brands and anti-social brands?
Well, no, not anti-social. There are brands that are there to show their expertise to others, that are more on the educational side, and there are brands that are more on the conversational side. And not all brands are about connections.
Okay, another quick question from the audience here, very front row, good students. Come up to the stage and take the microphone quickly, please, because we have very short time.
Hi, I'm Chris Hewer, founder of Social Media Club. It's great to see you guys get it. So the challenge seems to be inside your organizations, the middle management. The people who don't have the power, don't have the control, and are filled with fear. So what do you think we can do with those people in the middle of the organization who are really the ones getting disintermediated out of this process to help them understand the vision that you have?
And this brings us back to our theme a little bit, which is moving from fear to love. How do we move these middle people from fear into love?
You need to make them feel that they can monitor what is happening. That is the best way to interact with their customer. It's the best way to have the customer creating with us the new services. As long as you explain that to all the product manager, to all the marketing manager, that the digital is the best way to do that and to have this one-to-one conversation with customers, then they become to love the digital and to love to interact with customer.
Well, I think one of the solutions to that is that you don't learn marketing in books, not anymore. So the fact that we're trying to do now is to understand that we learn really marketing with our customers. If you want to be loved as a brand, you need to have that sensitivity which makes a brand like a real human being. You have to be sensitive enough to be connected to your customers. You have to turn into, you have your own antennas and to perceive what your customers are really expecting for you. So it's really an iterative process that we all learn. That's true that it's quite difficult in the middle generation because these people were not born with a mouse in their hand. But they soon learn, because as soon as they will have children, that they will push them and really tell them the way they understand, the way they love brands, because even if they don't watch traditional television or whatever, they love brands and they talk about brands. So certainly we will all understand that it's necessary to change the way we advertise now.
2 more minutes. And is there one last question from the audience? We have a question over here. Is there a microphone? I think a microphone is making over. One question here. No microphone.
If you can run to the
shout
stage.
Your question. Shout your question, and I will repeat it. This is, can brands mix advertising with will you do advertisements, L'Oreal do advertisements to create passion and love?
I think advertainment, as you said, is really something very important. Brands are content. And when I have Jane Fonda, for example, not doing a 30-second spot, but talking about her experience as a woman, as sharing that experience with others, that's a great way to create the type of information, the type of content which is really useful to our users. We should understand now that advertising for our customers is part of the experience. And they, in a way, they have to feel that they really understand, that they really deserve advertising, they appreciate it, they value it. So we have to really bring added value for this advertising, and I think that advertainment is a great way to do it because we bring the experience further down.
Okay, well, we brought this around to love. There's been a lot of love in the room, and I know a lot of you would love to ask questions, but I know that our panelists are very welcome. A mob scene down here like Paulo Coelho just got. They're willing to give autographs, yes? Yes, they're willing to give autographs off here on the stage, so please give a round of applause for our brands who came up here to be humiliated and loved.